is running out. We've got 5 laps to go. Huffman and Vincent battle it out for the lead. Meanwhile, Chad Cole dukes it out for second as they go into turn 2.
Landon Huffman coming to a comfortable lead, coming out of 2. He's got about 8 car lengths, put it half a second over the lane distance as Chad Cole runs the number 2 spot.
And the winner in race number 1 of the chase for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series Championship and the Bob of Racing fighting $400 will be Landon Huffman. He's number 165. Huffman goes 1.
The road to the Drivers' World Championship and $10,500 rolls through the Bluegrass State. Easy for me to say. Here this evening for the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. It is round number 7 of the series, and this is the time that it begins to be go time in this series. Everybody going to be gunning here in these next few weeks. Tim Terry, Dakota Ehrman here to call all the action for you. And Dakota, we finished last week at the Pocono Raceway, and a very exciting race, and actually I'm one ahead of myself. It's actually race number 6 of the 10-race series. Of course, we had the rain out there, and a couple of drops will be factored in. It's all fun. Depends really how you count everything here. I wasn't very strong at counting, Dakota, but nevertheless, last week Pocono, a very interesting race, and when we leave Pocono, we have a brand new winner in the series.
Yeah, and that was it was a really unique race. Jerry Crawford actually dominating early. He led, I believe it was about 42 or so laps. As I'm looking it up now, he actually led 29 laps. But we had a surprise winner, I believe, on pit strategy. Kind of managed to stay out there, which was rather unique.
Very unique, and it was the Pro Geek Consulting J-Show teammates up in front, and Carson Downs got shown a little bit of love 3 wide by Joshua Lawton. And Lawton ends up finishing 5th. Carson ends up finishing deep in the field after that incident. In fact, he finished the last driver on the lead lap in 29th place. Your winner ended up being Danny Hansen, and the number 78, Josh Berry, finishes in 2nd. Crawford, O'Keefe, and Lawton, your top 5. Your point leader, and it was really a big story to follow those points last week, Dakota. Chad Lawton finished 17th. That's his worst finish of the season. We hadn't seen him finish off the podium in those first races of that season.
Yeah, he's been strong all season. I was rather surprised to see where he's at, but I think I remember talking to him last week, and he's not too put down by this. He's still looking to finish strong at the end of the season. I have a feeling that he's going to be able to contend with still for the points. I know he still holds the points lead. I think that it's going to be hard to get away from him. Definitely, Tim.
And you look down the list of guys that did have some tough luck at that race. Adam Gilliland, surprisingly, and maybe not surprisingly, a very quiet 3rd place in the point standings heading into that last week. ends up finishing just around where Chad Lawton did. You look at the point standings now, it's a little bit different. Chad Lawton's going to lead Jarrett Crawford. Crawford, of course, closed in that gap with that very strong run at Pocono. Dustin Montgomery is going to be third. Danny Hansen vaults up from just around 10th place to position at number 4. And Adam Gilliland completes your top 5. Albeit it is early 4 races counting in the season. There's a lot of guys that really need to move here, especially at this point in the season. We are essentially, for all intents and purposes, halfway in this NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series season. And now it's time to really rack up those points and really gain some momentum here. We've got 3 races before the Christmas break. You really want to start getting something and gaining something before we hit that holiday break.
And I want to focus here on one of the biggest losers last week. He fell, I believe he was inside the top 10. He is now down to 16th in points. Joey Brown finished 34th, last car last week. I don't remember how many laps down he was. I'm trying to look it up. 44 laps down. He was in an early wreck. That was really unfortunate, as he did have a lot of momentum coming into the season. He was running strong. He's had fast cars, but he has just not had the luck.
And one driver you talked to earlier as well was Dylan Duvall. He was up in the top 10. He was suspended originally for what would have been the Homestead race, but of course we had the rain out at Homestead, so he was suspended last week for Pocono. He falls to 24th place in the point standings. Essentially, that race will be his drop week, because it'll be a 0 on the scoring for the points. I think Duvall's far from out of it. I think he's going to make this top 25, but I know you talked to him earlier, Dakota. He said not to pick him for fantasy. I'm going to go ahead and pick the 42 for my B group when we get there. I know we're still waiting for Mike Conti to come in, so we'll wait for our picks here. But I like Dylan Duvall, a very aggressive driver at times, and he's not sure what he's going to do for Pocono tonight, but I still like his chances if he can keep his head in the game.
Actually, we are at Kentucky tonight there, Tim. But mentioning that fantasy points, as I just got yelled at by John, we do want to bring those up, as Tim Terry, you have ran away with the thing so far. You have an 11-point lead over Mike Conti, and then myself, I'm back there 145 points, and you guys up there in your 200 points or 199 points, so I'm somewhere around 50-some points back, which is a little bad luck for me there.
And I know we mentioned the picks. Mike Conti is not here, and I know that's what he's thinking as he's coming home from his doctor's appointment. Who do I pick for fantasy? I'm going to throw mine out here. I know I'm leading. I shouldn't throw mine out here, but I waited for you to pick yours first earlier this evening. I'm going to go in that top 10 group. It's going to be close. I'm going to go with Adam Gilliland, though. Gilliland likes Kentucky. He talked to me earlier, very optimistic about tonight. The last pro race we ran at Kentucky back last season, he finished up in the top 5 as an A driver. So obviously he knows how to get around this racetrack. I mentioned Dylan Duvall for my B pick. And looking at the C group, I looked at Chris Overland. He had a vacation. He's coming back. I'm not sure if he is going to race tonight or not. I was going to pick him, but I'm going to go back and go with Alex Chambrone, another driver who's calm, cool, and collected, usually under pressure, and should be a factor when we leave here this evening.
I'll tell you what, you have the advantage. You get to talk to some of these drivers, or a lot of these drivers. Me, I'm just kind of picking randomly. But my picks this week, Dustin Montgomery, he's my A pick. I have a feeling he's going to go out and win it for me. I'm really hoping he will, because I really got to make up those 50 points, you know. Matt Whitten is my B pick, and Cody Bias is my C pick. Those guys are a great combination, I think, to pick, to watch out to be there in the end tonight.
So we will look at that, and we'll look at Mike Conti's picks as soon as he comes in, but he's cutting it close here. We're getting ready to go racing at the Kentucky Speedway. We're getting ready to take our first break of the evening, get set up, and then when we come back, can be the site for the green flag. I think I'm in the right track, or right place. I think I'm at the right track this time, Dakota. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll come back with the green flag for this evening's racing action. It's round number 6 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series here on ETV Live. We're getting ready to go racing here at the Kentucky Speedway for the NASCAR Iracing.com Pro Series, but before we do, we are going to send it down trackside and get one important piece of business out of the way. The Cactus Cuties are getting ready to sing us through our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
National anthem played, and we are just a few moments away. In fact, just about 2 minutes away before we do go racing here this evening at the Kentucky Speedway. And it's under the lights here, Dakota. This is going to be exciting. And 134 laps, there's a lot of time for these guys to move and make their way through this 36-car field.
And Tim Terry, I know a wise man once said, everything's better at nighttime. Nighttime is the right time, and can it be the right time for Josh Berry tonight? As I know he finished second last week. He's currently on the pole, and the guy that you really got to watch out for tonight.
Just a few moments away before we throw the green silk for the first time this evening, and we talk about guys that are quick. Let's look at warm-up right now. Chad Lott and Joey Brown, two names that we've seen throughout this season, currently top two in the practice session. So it's going to be tough to beat them, but there's a lot of strong competition here, especially when you're looking for that top 25 bubble. This could be a huge night if you're looking to make some ground and try to punch your ticket into 2013. Final couple of seconds here, Dakota, before we go green and we run down the lineup. Final thoughts, what do we expect here from Kentucky?
Well, I'm expecting a lot of good racing. It's a really tough track, a lot of bumps. It's going to be very difficult to get around, but these guys, they do it the best. They are the best on the best. That's why they are the Pro Series. And you also mentioning Joey Brown, with the luck he's had, I don't know that he'll be hard to beat off of luck, but speed-wise, he will be one of the cars to beat tonight.
He will be quick as these drivers will finish off the practice sessions. The black and red flags are out for this session, and they will start to grid to prepare for 134 laps for the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series at Kentucky. As they begin to grid, let's go down our starting lineup. And on the front row, it is the 72 of Josh Berry, putting in a time of 30.162 in the Speedco 72. To the outside, it's the number 8 of Dustin Montgomery with a 30.186.
How about Joey Brown starting third with 30.194, not too far off the leader, and then Brad Wright in the 48 starting outside of him in fourth.
A driver outside the top 25 in points and needs to go is Matthew Moose in the number 50 if he wants to get into that top 25. To his outside, going to be the 14 of Brandon Cattell.
How about Brandon Schmidt in a 3, starting in 7th position on the inside, and Cody Bias on the outside of him in 8th position.
And completing your top 10, it's 53, Jeremy Thornton, and to the outside of him, it is the point leader, 26, Chad Lawton.
How about Richard Doucette starting 11th in the 96, and outside of him, I'm surprised, I believe he was top 10, he was kind of a surprise to me, Casey Malone.
The formal Sea Giraffe will roll off from position number 13 as Josh Connors, and to the outside, our Pocono winner, Danny Hansen.
Benjamin Burmeister starting in the 15th position on the inside, and Matt Whitten on the outside of him.
Jackpot Jake Sturgis rolls off from 17th into the outside. It is the 07 of Derek Crone as our cars begin to roll.
Kenneth O'Keefe, who I believe finished in 6th position last week, and Alex Sambrone right outside of him.
Your next position sees Jarl Tyen in position 21 in the 04 to the outside, returning to the series 42, the Wheel Stand Pro Chevrolet, Dylan Duval.
Rob Ackley starting 23rd, and Juka Savalainen in 24th.
Kyle Gatula rolls off from 25th, 26th is Carson Downs.
Brandon Butchberger starting 27th, Andrew Fayes III starting 28th.
29th position belongs to Philip Geis, and Matt Busso will roll off in 30th.
Peter Bennett starting 31st, and Josh Lawton starting 32nd.
33rd belongs to the 83 of Jared Crawford, starting way deep in this field, and also Adam Gilliland in the 81.
Vinny Sansone and Landon Huffman rounding out 35th and 36th position. We will only have a 36 car field tonight, Tim Terry.
And it might be a good size field for a track like this. Glad you could be with us on ETV Live. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car getting ready to head to the infield here. And Josh Berry in the Speedco 72 will be in control of the field for the first of 134 laps around the Kentucky Speedway. Hard on the hammer, green flag flies, and Berry is already gone. The 8 of Dustin Montgomery to the outside, 12 and 48. Going to go side by side for third. Brad Wright trying to make things interesting on lap number 1.
How about Josh Berry's amazing start, and Joey Brown's thinking by the 48th, and they're just barely.
Almost a little bit of contact there between those two as they're getting at it very early. 48 now looking at the 12 for position number 3 as they work through 3 and 4. 14 will run in a 5th as they come up at a 4. This will be lap number 1 in the book.
Josh Berry does lead the first lap, and he is not looking back right now, Tim Terry. He is on the run. I don't think that he's going to be one to be able to catch easily tonight.
Yeah, he's going to be one to beat as he's trying to move in a little bit closer to that top spot in the point standings. The 8 shadowing the 72 right now. Dustin Montgomery, another great season so far in the Pro Series. And you talked about drivers needing to rebound. You look at that third place driver right now, Joey Brown, looking to make something happen here. 2 in the book.
And I'm looking to see how much ground. Usually you'd expect Jared Crawford to make up a lot of ground here early. He's up to 31st position after starting 33rd. Does up 2 spots, working another underneath in Fash a third. So this guy, he's going to be able to beat, I think. He's really quick, but he's got to come all the way from the rear, and he's going to be got to watch tonight.
They come up out of corner number 4 as the 8 car looks at the leader. It's single file racing throughout about your top 10 or so. It looks like the battle for 6 might heat up here, and that's Chad Lawton underneath the number 50 of Matthew Moose. Moose to the outside, Lawton to the inside. That's your battle for position number 6. Down the back straightaway, Cody Bias and Brandon Schmidt looking here as well on Matthew Moose. Moose, great qualifying effort, but beginning to fade a little bit here early.
It kind of looked like he almost got the wall. If he didn't get the wall a little bit off of 2, that'll definitely hurt you there too.
They really don't want to get up into the fence here early and ruin your night on lap number 5 of 134 as Moose continues to fall back. Brandon Schmidt made things interesting there in the 27 of Cody Bias. Schmidt trying to make his way through this field as Casey Malone will also try to pick up a spot here. He's underneath the number 50 And Moose will now fall back, and looks like the 53 is back there as well, with Jeremy Thornton. Thornton going to let the 50 fall into line here, see if he can gain any momentum or get anything rocking here, as we're still early in this race, but you can gain momentum, gain some confidence, it'll help you down the line.
I believe it was a 36 of Richard, it was a 36 of Richard Doucette, 96, excuse me, was following there. Jeremy Thornton had to check up just a little bit and almost got run over by the 78 right behind him.
Guys using their heads here early, and we've seen it here before, that there's a lot of drivers that really pace themselves, and we've seen some good racing, we've seen some bad racing out of the series, where some not as clean racing, let's put it that way, Dakota. We've seen some races here this season that have had a lot of green flag runs at the start, and this one, albeit it's early, it's shaping up to be some green flag racing here early, a lot of single file racing, guys just trying to log the laps to get to the first pit stop. As I see Cattell is flashing the nose underneath the 48 of Brad Wright. That's about 4th place right now.
Just looking up, they almost made contact a little bit there, and it looks like Brandon Cattell actually falling off just a little bit, maybe having to check up a lot, getting really, really loose there.
Cattell checks up, and right now the 26 at Chad Lawton closes in on the 14, and Cattell trying to pick up on the mistake that the 14 made, as the 14 still runs in a position number 5, but the 26 is now looking at him for the spot. We come up this time, 8 laps will be completed for your leader, Josh Berry.
This is a good battle for 5th position here, as Chad Lawton in the 6th position in the 26 car did start 10th position, so he's worked through quite a bit of traffic, and I don't think he's done yet.
Now, a lot of traffic to navigate here this evening, is a lot of these drivers trying to pick up those positions and really pick off those positions right now as they come, as some of the drivers, I'm sure, will see their cars come in here on this run, as 9 laps will be completed this time, 125 to go for your leaders, as Matthew Moose once again in the 50 car. I just caught that at the corner of my eye. He goes extremely high now. Jeremy Thornton's going to move underneath. Here comes Rich Doucette, and how about Danny Hansen beginning to move early as well in the 78.
Yeah, 2, 3, and 4. Brandon Cattell actually had Chad Lawton underneath him, but Cattell able to hold off Lawton getting really loose on the inside, so no change of position there.
Watching this battle half eye on the 96 and 50 for about position number 11 right now, position 12, as the 50 car continues to fall like a rock. A lot of these drivers, see those positions up there and they think, I can make up a few spots. Some of them get a little bit impatient, as the 41 check that Jake Sturgis goes underneath the 66 of Benjamin Burmeister. I don't think Burmeister really anticipated Jake Sturgis to make that move, as he jumped up the racetrack a little bit.
Yeah, what I'm really noticing here is this inside lane. If you're side by side with somebody, the inside lane is very, very slick and very hard to hang on to. These guys are doing a great job of not wrecking.
Jake Sturgis now going to go high on the number 15 of Josh Connors. That 41 car looks pretty stout early in this race, as Jake Sturgis looks at the 15 of Connors for position at number 14. Oh, 73 of Kenneth O'Keefe in the 66 behind them. O'Keefe going to give the 66 a shot, and up into the fence goes Benjamin Burmeister. He keeps it straight. I believe we're staying green.
Look at Landon Huffman, 3 wide through there, 3 wide again. Landon Huffman just, he's still 3 wide.
Landon Huffman picked about 3 positions up there down the back straightaway, as Benjamin Burmeister essentially got rooted out of the way by Kenneth O'Keefe. Burmeister down to pit road.
Man, that's an unfortunate night into his net. I do remember him being up at the front somewhere in the Pocono broadcast. I mean, he wasn't fairly well, and he's kind of proven that he can do well. And how about Jerry Crawford? Started around 33rd position. Let me check this and make sure that I'm not wrong there. Yeah, started 33rd up to 23rd, up 10 spots so far, and that's not counting the wreck. He was actually in front of that.
So the 83 of Jarrett Crawford beginning to make his march to the front, and keep in mind with some pit strategy that some other drivers played, as the 04 Jarl Tyen makes it interesting for the 83 of Jarrett Crawford to make the move. With some pit strategy, he did have to navigate some traffic there last week, as the 83 of Crawford has the 04 to the outside, the JDR Graphics 04 of Jarl Tyen on the outside trying to hold the 83 at bay.
I'm looking back up front. Josh Berry's still leading. He's got quite a bit of a small gap. It's not a huge gap, but he has a little bit of a gap back to the 8 car of Dustin Montgomery and Jerry Brown, trailing those two.
Joey Brown in the number 12 trying to reel in those top two, and he's within striking distance, but I think a lot of these guys right now, especially those at front, just trying to ride a little bit and get a green flag running, get some laps under your belt. 1:19 to go this time by, as looks like the battle behind them beginning to heat up as well, as Chad Lawton all over the back bumper of the 48.
Chad Lawton has come to the front. Like I said, he did start 10th. The sea has just now gotten around him, I do believe. So Chad Lawton, I do believe, is up to 4th position after starting 10th. That's up about 6 spots, so he's coming to the front.
Another driver that started way back there with the number 83 is the 81 of Adam Gilliland, and Gilliland hasn't been able to make up the ground that Jared Crawford has made. Gilliland 27th right now, as he's got a battle behind him between Ackley and the number 58 of Philip Geis. There's battles all over this racetrack. There's comers and goers, as we mentioned. Adam Gilliland not coming to the front as quickly as Jared Crawford was, as they started around the same place in this field. 22 right now on the board for Jared Crawford. As he looks up ahead of him, he's got about 8 car lengths before he hits Kyle Gatula.
Another guy running kind of close to Chad Lawton is in, I believe, the 7th position. Actually started 12th. Casey Malone. He's kind of worked a little bit through traffic, and I have a feeling he's also rather quick and somebody you might want to watch out for tonight before it's over.
Looks like the A car has reeled in the 72 a little bit here up in front, as Dustin Montgomery only has a car length between himself and Josh Berry in the number 72, and Joey Brown there as well. They've got 2 seconds on the 4th place driver Chad Lawton, and Brad Wright completes your top 5 as we are lean, mean, and green and through 18 laps.
And barely mean leading green through 18 laps. It's, Benjamin Burmeister's one of the only cars to have an incident. I don't know what happened to Josh Lawton, but he is currently 17 laps down. I'm going to go back and look at that and figure out what happened to him.
Yeah, I believe he may have been involved in something back there, but I did miss it. 40 car had some issues last week in the race, and right now being shown in 36, as you mentioned, 17 laps behind the pace, and make that 18 as he is currently off the track. Benjamin Burmeister just coming off pit road after that incident with the 73 of Kenneth O'Keefe. O'Keefe is looking right now at position number 18 as he has a battle in front of him. It looks like, guys, the 50 of Matthew Moose has found a place to race, and that is around 17th place, but it's a far cry from where he started in position number 5 for the 50 of Matthew Moose. We talked about it off the top. He's outside the top 25. He really needs to start getting those points racked up if he wants to be in the 2013 NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship.
He almost had an incident with Kenneth O'Keefe that Benjamin Burmeister had, because Kenneth just closed the gap really quickly. It looked like Matthew Moose get really loose in and just kind of sliding as he's sliding some more.
And he's going to fall back behind the 73, but he's going to have Derek Crone now on the 07 behind him. So watch those two as they will be going at it for the spot. And Kenneth being fairly aggressive here, and we talk about Kenneth being a fairly aggressive driver as it is to begin off, but Kenneth O'Keefe makes that move on Benjamin Burmeister. He nearly makes the same move on the 50 of Matthew Moose, albeit I know it's early, and I know he's back in the pack right now. I don't know if there's really a sense of urgency or an urgency this early to really get up to the front.
And look who is in 20th position after 22 laps. Make that 19th.
Jarrett Crawford continues to come through the field as he just passed Matthew Moose, and now he has Derek Crone in his sights in the 07, and just in front of him is Kenneth O'Keefe. That might be an interesting battle once he gets up to him. We'll have to see how quickly he can get up to him as Jarrett Crawford looks at Derek Crone for position number 18.
Yeah, I think after starting 33rd and being up to 19th position when he crosses the line, this car is definitely showing that it has something for the leaders, even if it's nowhere near them. I mean, he is coming to the front, and I don't think anybody can stop him here.
Yeah, he's still got a long way to go, but with that car the way it's running, looking back here, albeit he was in traffic, his last lap was a 31.6. Looking up here, that would put him about probably well within the top 10 of the quickest times here so far this evening. It's about on par with what Brad Wright turned the last time by the loop. So you look at it, Jared Crawford easily one of the top 10 cars on the racetrack, and probably up there in top 5 when you look at times.
Without a doubt, I think he usually is almost every week. He dominated season 1 in the pro for qualifying for the Pro Series, I do believe. He's a guy that you can never count out any race, no matter what it is. If he says it's a bad track for him, it usually means a top 5 car. So he's really just a stellar guy, really good with the setups, and really good driver.
And usually when we look at season 1, and we talked about it off the top of the season, there's a lot of guys that really take a little bit of a break. Those guys that qualify in season 2 and season 3, they really roll into this Pro Series with a ton of momentum and a little bit of confidence. Jarrett Crawford hasn't let the momentum, hasn't let the confidence down of that first season, and he continues to roll here as he rolls up on the 73 of Kenneth O'Keefe. And the last couple of laps by, he's been a tenth of a second quicker than the 73. So you would think, oh, this is going to be quick work, but when you're battling somebody like Kenneth O'Keefe, I don't think he's going to roll over very easy.
And you got to think, Jared Crawford, he was racing Friday Night Showdown and whatnot, several things that we were actually broadcasting, but he actually quit doing that the last season. He kind of disappeared. We didn't see much of him, and he got straight back in the series, and he's running top 5 in points. I believe he's second in points. So, I mean, he is doing an outstanding job. It's like I said, he always is, but he made quick work of Kenneth O'Keefe there and got by him pretty quickly.
And now he will set his sights on the driver in front of him, which is Alex Chambrone in the O2 car. Chambrone running all by himself in position number 15. Meanwhile, back up in front, it's still status quo with your top 3. Josh Berry, Dustin Montgomery, Joey Brown, all in a train, all within a car length between each other. And then it's 1.7 seconds back to Chad Lawton. Lawton's knocked off about 0.3 of a second in the last 8 or 9 laps or so. So Chad Lawton is coming, but it'll still likely be another 10 or 15 laps before he gets up to these top 3 cars.
10 or 15 laps is it's not too long here, especially when you're doing a 134 lap race. So I still think he'll be up here before we do pit stops or anything. I think he'll be there rather quickly, and I'm wondering when the pit stops are going to come, because I didn't have much time to kind of figure that stuff out. But you gotta think between it's going around 55 to 60 laps, I'm hearing, and I do believe somebody has joined us in the booth that is a little late, Mike Conti.
Well, good old doctors out there, you pay him a copay, and they make you wait an hour. So I'm here. I'm late. Apologize for that. But guys, it looks like the race has gotten off to a pretty decent start. Looks like Josh Lawton and Ben Burmeister, looks like they got into some trouble. But looks like Barry, Montgomery, and Brown definitely look like the class of the field at this point, 30 laps in.
Class of the field thus far, but there's a couple of drivers that started deep in this pack that are making their way up to the front. Adam Gilliland, not as much as the driver that started beside him on the row is Jarrett Crawford. Crawford is up to 16th and reeling in the O2 of Alex Chambrone. Chambrone in turn reeling in Josh Connors, who currently runs in position number 14. We have run the first 30 laps caution free of the 134 to run this evening.
Currently, I have to go all the way back to the 13th position with Carson Downs. His last time by, you're in a 31.54. Everyone else, including the leader, is at least a couple hundreds off of them. Looks like Downs is starting to come forward on this run here, guys. And Carson had a bad qualifying spot, as I can see right here, 26 for him. So he's up to 13th, so 13 positions in 30 laps. 97 looks sporty so far.
Yeah, looking back at Carson Downs, and we saw it in the Pocono race last week, he fell off a little bit on that first run. A little bit, he felt like a stone in the first run, but really started to come alive in the later laps of that run. I think you'll see that again here from Carson Downs as he reels in Rich Doucette at position number 12. Jake Sturgis, another driver that really set the world on fire in the first few laps of this race, runs in position number 11 just in front of him. It looks like he's looking over Cody Bias at P10.
A strong run so far for the road pro driver, the road DWC driver, Sturgis. He's been pretty consistent so far this season, 10. You always see him up in the top 15 somewhere, racking up some good finishes. He's solidly inside the top 25 in points. going into tonight in Kentucky. As it gets a little bit sideways there in the tribal, that'll definitely be a problem spot here tonight. Doesn't really look like it, but car de-wedges itself a lot right in the middle of that straightaway there, and cars get pretty squirrely, but Sturgis does complete the pass in the 27 of Bias. So that'll put Sturgis up into the top 10, Bias back to 11th. That's actually 2 spots down for Bias in the last couple laps. Danny Hansen, the 78, also passed him as well. And now it looks like Hansen's pulled about half a second over that battle back there. And Downs looks to be closing in on the 27 as well. So good racing back here, right around the top 10. Solid racing so far. Kentucky's always a good place for racing, Tim. You kind of can control your own destiny. You have a couple different lines to choose from here around this track because it's so old and bumpy. So a lot of drivers like this track, and it's putting on a great show so far.
And the 41 of Sturgis, as you mentioned, made that move on the 27 of Cody Bias. He did have a little bit of a wiggle coming up off the corner as he made that pass, but he has since pulled away a little bit from the number 27 of Cody Bias at position number 10. Dustin Montgomery up in front, pouring a little bit of pressure now on Josh Berry in the number 72. Down the back straightaway they go, lap number 36 being worked on the board. Less than 100 laps to go in this event. Laps clicking off here fairly quickly, about 31 seconds a lap for your top drivers. 31.6 last time by for Berry, and in fact a 31.62 compared to the 31.66 for Berry for your top 2. And once again, Dustin Montgomery a little bit quicker, actually mirror laps, looks like identical laps last time by from what I'm seeing here, Mike, for the top 2.
Yeah, make that the top 3. Brown was only about 6 thousandths off as he just slapped the wall off the 2 right there. He's going to save it though. Brown started to fall back a little bit. He was right in the back of the 8 Montgomery and fell off about a quarter of a second. Looked like he was going to start picking his way back up to him, maybe cooling the tires down, and he's getting loose again. Looks like that car is really loose. Almost looks like he might have knocked the toe. Oh yeah, he definitely knocked the toe out, Tim. He's all types of squirrely down the front stretch right there. That's allowing Lawton to close in very rapidly. That 12 car is not in good shape right now. I think he got a little bit too much of that wall off too, Tim. As he gets loose again. Yeah, Brown does not look too good so far. Right now, anyway.
Yeah, and Chad Lawton started in position number 10. He's going to work up into position number 3 here within the next lap or so, and he's actually fallen off the pace a little bit of the leaders, or what he was turning. He was closing on the leaders, and now he's falling back a little bit from the lead position, about status quo that last time by. But the 26 will move around the number 12 here, or we anticipate to move around the number 12 here, as the 12 of Joey Brown sustained a little bit of damage from that hit, and it looks like it's a little bit more than what we thought initially. As the 12 up high, 26 down low, no contest. Chad Lawton to the spot, and the 12 back to 4th.
Yeah, if we go on board with the 12 car, you look over his shoulder, you can definitely see he's turning right a lot down the front stretch right now, and as we get to the back stretch, I'm sure we're doing the same thing. These cars are very susceptible to toe damage. They really rave about how tough they are in real life, and they are really tough on here too. On iRacing, there's really no difference, but it looks like he might have caught it right where the safer barrier ends and the regular concrete wall starts, and it just caught the car the wrong way. Now he's towed out, so he's got to have to nurse this thing till the next pit sequence, and maybe he can get it fixed there. But Tim, the way it looks like it's going right now, we're really separated. Might get some green flag racing. If we get green flag pit stops, Brown really is going to have a lot of time to fix it. So that hit with the wall, it's going to make for a long night for Brown. And already Malone and everyone behind him are about 0.3 of a second quicker and closing in really quickly as he gets really close to the wall again.
Yeah, Brown's going to have to hope for a caution here to come down and get a majority of that damage fixed. As looking back through this field, there's a lot of single file racing. Looks like 53 of Thornton and 78 of Danny Hansen are pretty close. Cattell is pouring some pressure on Brad Wright in the number 48 car. That might be the closest battle here as the 14 flashes nose on 48 side by side for the position. Brad Wright should get the run off the corner here, but what a run by the 14 and Cattell off of corner number 2. They drag race down the back straightaway, looking at corner number 3. The 14 going to pick up the advantage into the corner. Cattell picks up one spot. Very impressive move by Bernie Cattell.
Yeah, it's nice to see Cattell in one piece tonight. This whole pro season so far, the first 5 weeks, that 14 car has really been a pinball. Really not of his own making too, 99% of the time. So Cattell running in 6th at the moment. Good start to this race, no damage. Really spread out. It looks like his car is fast too. So Cattell definitely has to make up some points here tonight, Tim. He's on the bubble. He's not in a good points position right now. I'm sure he wants to get a solid top 10 to go into next week. You know, with the mindset that he can race maybe a little bit harder because he's better in points. Because at the moment, you know, he's on that bubble. You got to really be careful of how you race. You don't want to lose any more points than you already have.
Especially here in the second half of the season, as you mentioned, these guys really don't want to lose any ground, especially with 3 races, and we mentioned it in the pre-race show, Mike, 3 races coming up to the Christmas break. If you lose your stride now, you go into that Christmas break with not a whole lot of momentum, and you only have 2 races to rebound and really pick it up once we hit 2013 on the calendar. This time by 44 laps are in the book. We are 90 laps away from a finish. Laps start to click away here as Carson Downs in 97 moves underneath the number 53 of Jeremy Thornton, move Carson Downs into the top 10.
Yeah, the 78 and the 97 are pretty fast right now. They definitely have a long run setup in once again this week. We saw them be pretty strong last week too at Pocono, like you mentioned. They're coming to the front. Hansen is all over the back of right now, and Downs has made the pass on Thornton for the 10th position. So they're quick right now. They're a little bit behind the leader. Actually, Downs just ran an incredible lap right there, 31:57. That's faster than the leader at this time. So they're looking good right now for the 2 Pro Geek cars. But you know, you never know. It seems like one lap, one guy's gonna be a little bit quicker than the other. The next lap, the other guy will be quicker. It's just all about how you can manage your tires here. The new tire model, a lot of people have been complaining as of late that there is no tire wear, that you don't really have to save your tires. But here in Kentucky, just because of the way that the track surface is, you really have to mind those tires and not overheat the right front, right rear, because if you do, you're going to suffer. And again, it looks like Downs, like we saw last week at Pocono, falls off a little bit in short run, but comes on strong at the end. So it looks like he's got that figured out.
Yeah, he is easily one of the top 3 fastest cars in the last 5 laps on the racetrack. The only 2 that I'm seeing that are really in the same ballpark as him right now when it comes to lap times each lap is Chad Lawton and your leader Josh Berry. Berry has really picked it up here in the last 10 laps, Mike, as the 8 car for a majority of the first 48 laps was really shadowing him, really putting some pressure on the 72, but now the 72 has really turned up the wick in the Speedco 72 as this time by 48 laps completed, and he pulls away by about a half second over Dustin Montgomery.
Yeah, with Montgomery tucked up behind his rear bumper like that, that might have, well, that definitely caused him an aero push. That might have overheated his right front. Right now, he might be trying to get the right front back under it. That might be why he's about a half a tenth off the leader, Barry, or maybe he just wore that right front out, and you really can't do anything even if you tried at this point. So again, you know, tire management coming to play here tonight. I would like to see what Montgomery could do if he was out in front from the beginning. Maybe he could pull away from Barry, maybe he couldn't. We'll just have to wait and see after this round of green flag pit stops that we should be coming up on very shortly, as 78 of Hansen goes around the 48 right back here. It's a battle for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th all the way back to Thornton. Good battle going on back here right now. The crossover 4 right. He's going to come back under Hansen. 78 side by side into 1 and 2. He still goes side by side. 78 Hansen is clear down low. You're going to see he's going to try to do the crossover again. His teammate gives him a break right there, and they go single file down the backstretch in a freight train of 5 cars.
And it's going to be side by side in the rear of this train. Is the 53 going to make up the spot in the 41? Is Brad Wright coming onto pit road here? Brad Wright coming onto pit road, as is Brandon Cattell. And a couple of others here within the top 10. Dakota Urban is down there, and the 14 is around at the mouth of pit road. Big mistake for Brandon Cattell.
They're going to schedule stops here. I said about 50 to 55 laps. So everybody come in for fuel and 4 tires. It's too early to take 2. A lot of guys being very careful getting on pit road, and as you saw, I believe it was 14 spinning out because of a brake bias issue on that car, being maybe just too high on it. But everybody come down. Brad Wright, I do believe, first car in the stall. 4 tires and fuel, like I said. Downs also coming up.
It looks like Brandon Schmidt had an electrical problem during those pit stops. He lost connection to the server for a brief moment. He's now 3 laps down in the number 3 car, so a tough 2012 pro season continues for Schmidt as he loses connection here. He's just gotten back into the server. His car is not yet on the track, so he should be at least 4 laps down by the time he gets going again.
Yuka Savalana coming down on pit road, and heavy smoke rolling from the 13. Dakota, what are you seeing?
Not quite sure. They think they're gonna try to work to fix things on it, but nope. They have just told me they are pulling the thing behind the wall, putting it in the garage, maybe on the trailer. They think they are done for the night, guys. Hearing Danny Hansen also coming down, 4 tires and fuel. Like I said, guys, 4 tires and fuel for almost everybody that comes down. I don't think that anybody can gamble yet. They cannot take the chance of taking 2 tires and getting a quick caution and have to come back down and get 4 tires and go into the rear of the field, guys.
And Mike, looking at this, we're on lap 54 right now. Josh Berry still out on the racetrack. Some of these leaders that are staying out on the racetrack, they can, well, these guys that just came down pit road a couple of laps ago, I'm sure they can make it on one more stop if we do stay green the rest of the way. But Josh Berry, Dustin Montgomery, and the rest of these guys can definitely do it on one more stop if this thing stays green. Here comes Chad Lawton, your point leader, working down into pit road in the number 26, and behind him, I believe that might be Jared Crawford. No, trying to get that. That's Cody Bias in the number 27 as they come down to pit road to the attention of Dakota.
Yeah, I was watching, listening to Chad Lawton's radio. He is a little loose, so they're making a small air pressure adjustment in the right rear. But other than that, 4 tires and fuel, and he will be away, guys.
Barry's coming in right here, Dakota. What is he saying? 4 tires and fuel, right?
Yes, sir. 4 tires and fuel is, I believe, the 3 of, I believe it's Brandon Schmidt coming in behind him. 4 tires and fuel for everybody, guys. So it's like I said, they cannot take the strategy and go 2 tires with the chance that they get a quick caution and then they have to come in and pit again or go to the rear of the field.
That means that Dustin Montgomery here, who's also pretty far up in the points, guys, he's going to get a bonus point for leading the lap. So that's 1 point towards his chase for the championship. Looks like he's going to come in this time by. Dakota, down to you.
And Jared Crawford also saying like his teammate just a little loose off, so they took a small air pressure adjustment out of the right rear, I do believe was what it was, and he is away 4 tires and fuel.
And the 8 car, Dustin Montgomery, coming in as well. He works his way down to his pit box. It'll hand the lead over to the 53 of Jeremy Thornton as the TDH delivery, Tim's corner number 8, will work his way down to his box. Dakota, what's he saying?
Very happy with the car. He was one of the happiest we've heard on the radio all night. He was very ecstatic and thought he had something for Josh Berry. He was just kind of hanging back there, saving his stuff for the second run, guys.
And Jeremy Thornton is now in, Dakota.
Jeremy Thornton also coming down, 4 tires and fuel. He was, I don't think he was running somewhere around the top 10, I believe top 20, I can't quite remember, but he was not very happy with the car. I do remember he was having a lot of trouble on the inside lane when he was working traffic, so they are trying to tighten the thing up. The inside lane being very tricky tonight, and also trying to watch out for the bumps.
Sturgis in the 41 is going to inherit the lead, Tim. Down pit road he goes.
And the one thing that does not surprise me is Sturgis trying to gamble on fuel, and the guy that's out in second doesn't surprise me either. Vinny Sansone is going to stay out here. No, he's going to come in as well. So the 80 and 41, the last 2 to go down onto pit road on this run of pit stop. Somebody just missed pit road by the looks of it there, Conti. That's Benjamin Burmeister. He's been down pit road 3 or 4 times already. Down to Dakota on the final couple of drivers to make this green flag pit stop complete.
Vinny Sansone coming out, he was trying to stretch it as far as he can. He knows he can almost only go to somewhere around 120, so they are about 16 to 18 laps short on fuel from here, from another stop. But they are really hoping that they can stretch it out a little bit further.
And Tim, Josh Berry should take the lead back over, and I believe he will when timing and scoring seconds back around. When he came in, he had about a half a second lead over the 8 of Montgomery. Now, because he pitted, I believe, a lap or 2 earlier, those fresh tires meant about a second a lap. He should be about a second and a half from Montgomery now, so what a net gain of a second in that pit sequence between the 72 and the 8. So now Montgomery's going to have some clean air now, and Berry has a lot of clean air. We'll have to see if Montgomery can close up to the back of the 72 on this shorter run here. Another big mover during that pit stop was Brad Wright. He's up to 3rd. Carson Downs pitting a little bit earlier than some other people. He's up to 4th. Malone 5th. Chad Lawton 6th. Joey Brown back to 7th with that damage. 8th is Danny Hansen. 9th is Jared Crawford, who started way in the back. And 10th is his teammate of Rich Doucette. So that's your top 10. 61 laps into this race.
What a run by Chad Lawton. He gets 2 for 1 in corners 3 and 4, picks up 2 spots on 97, and 92 as 92 throws it in on the number 97 at Carson Downs for position number 5. Watch that battle there, brewing just in front of Joey Brown. Brown looks like he's got a little bit of the damage fixed, or it looks like it's handling a little bit better for Brown as he goes underneath Carson Downs, so Downs will fall back 3 positions in the matter of a lap and a half, or it might be 3 positions, as Joey Brown has to really pinch off the corner there with Downs on the outside line, and Downs going to keep the spot, but Chad Lawton going to come back up through the field. I was about to say, Mike, that the biggest loser on this pit stop was Chad Lawton, because he fell from 3rd all the way back to 7th place, but he's just gained all those positions back in the matter of about 3 laps, but he was 2 seconds behind the leaders. Now he's nearly 5.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a slow pit stop right there. Maybe he got on pit road a little bit easy. But, you know, he's the points leader. He's got a pretty decent lead over 2nd. It shrunk a lot after last week with his troubles, but still, he is in the lead, so he's controlling the series at the moment. So he can afford to be a little bit less aggressive, a little bit more conservative getting on the pit road. I'm sure he did that. Doesn't want to get speeding and have that 15-second penalty added onto the pit stop. That'd really kill his night. So conservative driving from Chad, but smart driving as well. You know, he doesn't need to throw it away at this time.
Hard to believe we're already coming up on the halfway point of this race in just a few laps' time. Looking back here at the battle between Danny Hansen, 78, and 96, and Rich Doucette, that's the battle for 9th and 10th. Oh, and look, just in front of him, it's Jared Crawford. Oh, Rich Doucette is going to go by as we got the smoke in front.
And they're all going to have to avoid him now. Oh, they get really close to the wall right there. Right. Oh, don't come down the track. Okay. Yeah, it looked like Wright got turned. Turn 1. Yeah, it looks like he pinched the 92 just a little bit. Malone, and it looks like Malone slid up as well just a tad, and the 48 and the 92 made contact, which sent the 48 around. Not a lot of damage for Wright, though, just kind of lightly nosed it into the wall, so that car should be okay. Yeah, that should be something that the pit crew can fix pretty easily.
So the caution flag will fly for the first time this evening on lap number 64 into 65 of 134. Your leader, as we mentioned, is Josh Berry, but now we'll see what happens here as he will come down pit road. We assume here will come down pit road. He'll still need 1 more pit stop under whatever condition it is, whether it's green or caution, to finish off this race on fuel. Dustin Montgomery in 2nd. Chad Lawton's going to gain that 5 seconds that he was behind the leaders. He's going to be in 3rd with Casey Malone and Carson Downs, your top 5. And here they come to the mouth of pit road. Berry looks like he's going to make his way onto pit road in the 72, as he will have some friends with him. Dakota Ehrman, pit road about to be a very busy place as here comes the field.
Yes, sir, and it's not about conservative this time. Everybody has to hit their marks. They have to hold 45 all the way down pit road. They cannot speed, but they cannot go too slow without losing a little bit of time, and that little bit of time is worth everything. I'm watching Josh Berry coming down to his stall. He will be the first car to get down to pit road. He actually has the first stall way down pit road, but that is an advantage because they get out much quicker. 4 tires and fuel right now, not hearing much strategy right now, just trying to get full of fuel is the deal. And look further back, I know Jerry Crawford came in. I don't know that he did this for strategy because he is up in the top 10, but I'm hearing Jake Sturgis actually took 2 tires, but Jerry Crawford has a pit stall way up in the beginnings now, so it's not as hard to get into. I'm wondering if that was strategy, guys.
Yeah, Sturgis taking 2 there. We've seen Jake do some strategy before, Tim. You think back to the DWC race at Las Vegas last season, where he had that upset of a win when he stayed out a little bit longer than everyone else on the green flag pit sequence, and there was an accident, and him and I believe 7 or 8 other cars remained in the lead lap, and I was with about 20 to go, and 40 went to Sturgis, and that race was able to hold everyone else off and take the win, his only win in the NISW season of 2012. So Sturgis, no stranger to playing strategy, and I don't think this is a bad strategy, Tim, Dakota. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we only had about 10 laps on the tires right there. Sturgis was one of the last cars to pit, so he really had fresher tires than everyone else. So 2 right sides, I don't believe that'll be a bad call for him. It's not going to keep him in the lead, I don't think, but I don't believe he'll lose anything with this strategy.
And he definitely won't spend as much time working through traffic, trying to come up to the field at all. He might go backwards a little bit, like you say, but he will finally stabilize. I do believe he'll stabilize in probably the top 10 somewhere.
They've seen what clean air can do for you tonight. We saw Montgomery all over the back of the 72, and because of that dirty air, really wasn't able to get by him. Actually ended up losing time to him as the run progressed. As they got to the latter part of the run, that I don't know, but it looked like he got a little bit tight in the center and couldn't get off the corner anymore. Burned that right front off of it because of that aero effect. So 41 to Sturgis. While he's out in the lead right here, it might be short-lived, but at least they'll have clean air for a couple moments anyway.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting with Sansone and Sturgis up in front of this field, and we've seen it before at Las Vegas, albeit those guys stayed out. I think Sansone might have been one of those drivers that did stay out in that race, and then of course Jake Sturgis wins that race. But keep in mind, they did that with about 25 laps to go. We're sitting with half the race to go. It might be decent strategy if these guys can get a couple of quick cautions, even if they only fall back to about 10th place, which is about where Sturgis was running. I believe Sansone was running around 20th place or so on that run. It might not be too bad for these guys, Mike.
No, I don't think it's a bad call for Sturgis. Sansone was Sturgis was maybe a 10th and a half off the pace that long run. Sansone was a little bit further behind, maybe closer to 2.5 tenths off the pace, and now he doesn't have any tires in the car. At least Sturgis has 2. So Sansone might be a little bit of a moving obstacle the first couple laps, but again, once the tires get settled in, if they do get a quickie caution, everyone will have a heat cycle in the tires, and that will really even the playing field. So what the 80 and the 41 rather are hoping for right now are a couple of quick cautions to get the heat cycles on these tires and get that track position gained up front. But if they have a long green flag run here, it's not going to work out quite as well. But we're just going to have to wait and see. This is really the time of the race, about halfway through, where you start to experiment a little bit under these circumstances. If you think you want to try 2 tires or no tires, this is the time to do it, to see if it does or doesn't work, so you can maybe try it at the end of the race as well if there's a caution with 20 to go, similar to what happened in the Las Vegas race last season. So it's a big experiment right now, big science project for the top 2. We'll just have to see if it works out or not for them.
Yeah, this will be a very exciting restart, the first restart of this race on lap number 68 of 134 Kentucky. Sansone and Sturgis is your front row. Barry and Montgomery have been the drivers who have really set the pace in this race. And then you have Chad Lawton and Jarrett Crawford. Crawford, who started 33rd, is up to 6th. And we'll be looking for a little bit more here. Casey Malone, Dylan Duval, and then the J-Show teammates, Danny Hansen and Carson Downs, complete your top 10. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car getting ready to head to the infield here with 68 laps in the book at the stripe halfway in this race. 66 laps to go when we take the green here. Pace car in and Sansone is gone. Green flag flies.
Yeah, check up in the bottom line right there. Chad Lawton didn't get going at all. Barry got caught sleeping just a little bit as well. You can see Hansen back from 78 thought of shooting up the middle. Thought better of it though, as that would have been a penalty, because you cannot change lanes on the restart. Now they go side by side, the 2 wheelmen teammates through turns 1 and 2. Oh, Barry gets turned in the backstretch. And Montgomery does it. Barry's going to slap the inside wall tip. Heavy damage on the 72. Big implications on the finish of this race right here with the 2 top running cars taking each other out.
Barry will get rolling again as it looks like he'll pick up a couple of positions here. Not sure where he's going to be scored, but the caution flag nevertheless is out on the field as Josh Barry will wait and see where he slots into line here, but it's going to be well outside the top 15, 20-ish. He was scored 25th the last time by. It looks like he's going to try to slot into line here in front of Kyle Gatula. So about position 24 or so. Yeah, that's huge. Barry dominated this race up to this point, and we'll see the replay here again, but there was definitely contact there.
It looks like Barry got a little bit loose off turn 2. Didn't really get any type of speed off the corner and checked up abruptly. And Montgomery just wasn't ready for it and ran into the back of him and sent him around completely. So I don't really think that was Montgomery's fault. Maybe he could have checked up just a little bit better. But when you're going 170 miles an hour on brand new tires here, you got a lot of grip. You're in the throttle a lot, so it's very hard to just stop the car on a dime or even check up for that matter. So just the racing incident, really tough break for Berry though. Like you said, he was the class of the field. Now Montgomery as well has some front end damage. Nothing too bad, pretty much on par with what Wright got with that last accident. But I looked through that again, Tim, and if we go through that accident again, should go on board with that 26 car. Chad Lawton made an excellent maneuver to miss that wreck and not plow into the back of the car in front of him.
8 car on pit road, Dakota. What are they saying down there for the damage of the TDH delivery number 8? It looks like Dakota is off at the hot dog stand, so as we said, it looks like minor damage to the number 8, but he's going to come in and get service to his car. Josh Berry pulls in, Joey Brown, among others, and it looks like Rob Ackley will be the first off pit road of these drivers that did come down to get service on their race cars. But you mentioned it, and I was going to mention it too, Chad Lawton made a very quick move, and so did Jarrett Crawford, to avoid the 26 as he slowed down to avoid the 8 in front of him. That could be a championship saving move on both of their parts, because they're running 1-2 in the standings.
But some of the things that I've seen Chad Lawton do, and I always bring this up, but I feel it's necessary. He's only been on the service for less than a year. I've been on it for 3. Barry's been on it since 2008. A lot of these guys have been on it for years now. Lawton had a lot of experience in NR 2003, but he came on here, different platform. He's really adapted well, and he's showing true championship form. He'll definitely be in the 2013 NISWC roster with, as long as nothing crazy happens. I think he'll probably be locked in before we even get to the winter break. But Lawton and his team at Crawford right behind him, they're going to be contenders next year. Tim, I know we asked Kevin King earlier on in the season if he could really pinpoint anyone that could contend next year, and it was early in the season, he really couldn't pick anyone, but I can say with assurance that the 26 car and the 83 at Crawford, they will be 2 very fast cars next year, and they'll definitely be up there with the likes of Alfala and all them next year vying for the championship.
Yeah, and then you look at some other drivers that might very well have a shot at maybe looking at a win or 2, or at least contending for some top 5s throughout the season. You look at Dylan Duval, Casey Malone has had his strong points in this season. Danny Hansen, Carson Downs, as you mentioned with the J-Show, JRM Alliance, they might be guys to look at for possibly top 5 finishes next year, albeit we're looking at the Drivers' World Championship and we're talking about guys like yourself, Ray Alfala, Brian Schoenberg, Thomas Lewandowski, the rest of the field, Steve Sheehan. List goes on and on to those guys that they'll have to contend with. You might see a couple of those guys like Duval, Hansen, Downs with top 5 finishes or 2 by the end of the season. But I think you're right. You look at Chad Lawton, you look at Jarrett Crawford. They'll be drivers to watch each and every week in that 17-week season.
Yeah, it's going to be a strong field next year, Tim. I think with the introduction of the new 2013 Ford Fusion and the new 2013 Chevy SS, I think that's going to throw a lot of teams for a curveball, pretty much every team out there, and it's really going to level the playing field. You might see some different faces come up to the front. They can hit on something early on in the season and ride that momentum as long as possible. So I'm really looking forward to next season. It's like I said, with these new cars coming out, it's going to add a different element into the racing next year, and with all these new faces coming in, a lot of great talent coming in, they'll just make it even better. So, I'm sure we're going to see 43 cars strong every week next year with a lot of good talent in it, and I can't wait to kick that off in February.
And we'll get ready to go back to green here in 1 lap time as your top 2 once again stayed out on the first caution period of the evening, trying to make some strategy work here because everybody else has to come down. Maybe possibly could very well make that their final pit stop as well, along with the rest of the field. We're talking Vinny Sansone and Jake Sturgis at your top 2 positions. Lawton, Crawford, and Malone, Your top 5, Duval, Hansen, Downs, Doucette, and now Alex Chambrone makes his way up into the top 10. So Chambrone having a fairly quiet night, but top 10, he needs it. Mike, he's outside the top 25, looking to make something happen to get into the top 25.
Yeah, Alex hasn't had a very good start to this season. He missed Daytona and hasn't really had any noteworthy runs since then, not really that I can think of anyway. So I think a solid top 10, solid top 12, maybe even a top 15, I would go a long way for that 02 right now. As you know, top 25 is not easy to get into this season. I mean, we're only getting 36 car fields, but all the cars that are showing up are very strong each and every week. So Chambrone, he's a good enough driver. He can get in. He's just got to keep putting together these solid finishes and solid runs like he's having so far here tonight in Kentucky.
The first Racing Ford Mustang pace car getting ready to head to the infield here. 73 laps completed for Vinny Sansone, as Sansone is hard on the hammer. Green flag flies. Your top 3 on that inside line get great starts. Look at Casey Malone all over the back bumper of the 26 of Chad Lawton as Lawton tries to fend him off for position number 3. Duval going to toss it in on the 83 of Jarrett Crawford. Dylan Duval looking at position number 5.
Yeah, Duval kind of closed the door in the 78 down the front. Chambrone. Chambrone just had a moment on the backstretch, saved it. Great job at that 02. Change of the lead right here. Sturgis around Sansone. Swap 1 and 2 right there. Still side by side back here. Duval closed the door in the 78. Kind of had to check him up a little bit. Duval was trying to get the position in the 83 as well. Not going to happen. We go further up just a little bit. 26 a lot around the 80 as well. So the old tires on the 8 car are not working quite well so far. Like I said, he's not going to be very good the first couple laps. We'll just see what he can do after these tires get some wear into him.
92 to the inside, 83 to the inside, and the 42 had to back off a little bit there, as he will look now to the inside of Vinny Sansone and the number 80 to the outside line, as this time by 59 laps to go at Kentucky. The 78 of Danny Hansen and now the 97 of Carson Downs continue to train on the inside of Sansone.
As Sansone is going to fall outside the top 10 here fairly quick if he doesn't stop the bleeding. That'll be the 97 going around him right here. That should be for the first, second, third. At the 8th position, Doucette's going to go around him. That's 9th. So he's going to be outside the top 10 very quick. And God's going to be out of the lead pretty quickly right here. If Lawton continues this pace, it's going to be that 41 of Sturgis. 26 car all over through the center of 1 and 2.
Yeah, he looked at him at a corner number 2, just couldn't seem to get anything done there. He's going to try again here if he can get a great run. The battle might be here for position number 3, though, is the 83 of Jarrett Crawford. Look at the 92 of Casey Malone for the spot. Looks like Lawton backed off a little bit on Jake Sturgis. Sturgis is going to lead the lap 76. He might lead lap 77 here, as well as the 41. Looking like he's found a rhythm out in front, but Chad Lawton has found a rhythm every single race that we've been to.
Duval got crazy sideways off of turn 4 there. He's going to block the 78 of Hansen down the front stretch downhill. Give him the line. 78, 42 side by side through 1 and 2, just up in front of them a little bit. 83 and the 92. That's Crawford at the bottom alone. On the outside, they go side by side. Hansen will pass Duval. That'll put him up in 5th position. His teammate Downs is going to go through for 6th as well. Look tight right there, holding him to the bottom, getting through the bumps in 3 and 4 is very tough when you're pinching the bottom. 97 Downs. It's a nice job of it. He gets a run down the straightaway. He should have the 42 cleared here going into turn 1. That'll be for the 6th and 7th positions. Now Doucette throws it in there as well, and he's going to get in there. He might get the 97 as well. Hang on to it. Change the lead. Lawton to the lead as well.
Lawton going to take the lead. Sturgis back to position number 2 as Duval is trying to maintain something here. He's going to throw a block on Peter Bennett. Bennett to the inside as he almost gets into the number 42, and he's going to give him a little shot in the middle of 3 and 4. I really didn't like that move that you pulled, as Duval going to go to the outside, and looks like he continues to go backwards here if Peter Bennett can continue to stick the foot underneath the number 42 of Dylan Duval. And really, Duval's got to keep in mind here, I believe they reset the 6 points in the incident system, don't they, or 5 points? He was suspended. He's coming off a suspension. He doesn't want to be on the bench next week.
No, boy, well, if Bennett keeps swerving at him like that down the backstretch, it's not gonna Oh God, hang on. We can just, I don't have to say anything about this battle. We can just watch this right now. These guys are really racing hard. 80 laps into this thing. I make that 81 now. Now they're racing for all they can. They know they have to get these points here tonight, 31 to 42, after a little bit of a slow start here in this Pro Series season. And they're fighting for everything it's worth. Right now it looks like the 31 is almost going to clear Duval off the corner. Not quite though. They still go side by side. Thornton's going to stick his nose in there as well. Bennett should have position. That'll be 9 for Bennett. Now Thornton in the 42. Duval, they go side by side. 3 and 4. Thornton's going to, oh, they're still side by side. 31 to 42. Wow. Good race.
53 and 81 are going at it as well. 81 to the inside of the 53 as Adam Gilliland almost gets into the 53 off corner number 1, and they'll drag race down the back straightaway, and you see these beautiful sights. Let's hear some of the sounds as well. Sights and sounds of Kentucky Speedway.
And we're back. We still see the 42 and the 31 going at it really hard for the 9th position right now. They've been leaning on each other. Seeing the 81 back there of Adam Gilliland, part of Schmidt Chassis Works. He's the leading car for that team right now. He's been making up a couple positions quite aggressively back there as well. So a lot of aggressive driving going on. And Tim, it's really nothing different. I always bring up the DWC season, but these two series are parallel, so I guess it's fitting. But I remember being 5 wide here in one of the restarts back in the day then. You know, so there's really tough racing all around Kentucky because of the multiple grooves you can utilize when trying to race each other. We see the 31 down the flat, 3 and 4. You see the 42 right behind him, a little bit further up. He's going to get the run. He's going to get to the bottom right there. Not enough room. Now he's going to send it into 1. 31 and the 42 side by side once again.
42 now to the inside of the number 31. You mentioned the crossover. The 81 of Adam Gilliland is there as well, and he's a driver that's not... He'll flash the bumper if he needs to flash the bumper. He sees 2 positions ahead of him, and I'm sure he wants to pick up both positions. He's going to pick up 1 here on the number 31 of Peter Bennett. Look at Kenneth O'Keefe back there as well, another one of those drivers that can be aggressive when he wants to. 81 all up in the 42's business.
No. Down
the front straightaway, he nearly lost it off the back bumper of the 42.
Yeah, they're getting pretty racy back here. Well, they've been racy, but now the 73 and the 31 go side by side. I mean, really tough racing back here, tooth and nail. And Tim actually corrected me. I didn't know Bennett was so far up in points. He's up to 7th, but he's racing like he was 27th or something. So just aggressive driving from Peter, but that's his style, and so be it. They're all being aggressive right now. Just everyone sideways through 3 and 4.
And I could be wrong. There's 2 drivers back there in Jeremy Thornton as they go 3 wide for a moment there. Thornton and Chambrone, as Chambrone is wearing the back bumper off of that number 53 car. As Jeremy Thornton 37th in the point standing, Chambrone is back there around as well. So those drivers need to get going. And Chambrone, I believe, is going to have a purple front bumper. If that could be the case, he'd have a purple front bumper because he's all in the business of the 53.
Yeah, as the kids say nowadays, he's all up in the 50. He's all up in the 53's grill or bumper, whatever you want to call it. But they're really close right now. I mean, but you know, it's getting down to crunch time though, Tim. In a blink of an eye, we're almost 90 laps into this thing, so not a lot of time left. That'll be about 45 laps to go right here. So these guys still have another pit stop left, so still have time to make adjustments and maybe gain or lose track position through those sequences. But you know, just really good so far. I've only had 2 cautions. These guys are racing hard, but they're racing smart at the same time. So nice job so far. 81-42 side by side once again. That'll be for the 9th position. Oh, 31 back there, and 73 getting really tight as well. 81's going to slide up into the door of the 42. Oh, 31's got to check up as well. 73 back into his bumper now. 81 all types of sideways off the corner. That's Gillen. He's going to still... They're still side by side into 3. Tim Gillen's going to slide up. He's going to beat his door. And they're going to save it. And they save it. Now they're going to be 4 wide. Hang on to it. They're still hitting each other. 4 wide down the front stretch. My God. Get it. Still 4 wide. And Gillen backs out of it. Wow.
There was about 4 different wrecks there that did not happen. I saw the 02 pitch it in on the 53, and then you saw the 42 and 81 do the exact same thing. 81 and 73 going to throw a little block here. Down the back straightaway, 81 going to use the bumper in the 73. This is a wreck. It's just when it happens, 81 is all kinds of sideways. 73 up in front of the 53, 53 in the fence as he will fall back 1, 2, 3, 4 spots.
That's really going to hurt Thornton right there. He nailed the thing with the right front. It's going to camber it in, and he's probably going to be really tight now. So he wasn't tight before. Well, Jeremy, now you're tight. So he's going to fall back outside the top 20 now, back to where Barry's running, back to where Connors is running. Tim, has Connors adapted the Hawaiian shirt theme, or is he still trying to make that tuxedo work?
He was up in the top 10 a little bit earlier on, so I think he's going to try to do something here in the second half of this race. It seems like he has a car that can do so. 81 of Gilliland up in the fence off corner number 4. He'll lose a couple of spots here. 02 of Alex Chambrone underneath him as well, but this racing is absolutely intense right now. 14:53 going at it back here around 20th place as the 14. Oh, he's going to put the 53 in the fence, and he is on his lid.
Oh, and Moose is involved. Brown turns sideways. Wow. It looked like the 14 of Cattell might have slid up a little bit right there. Maybe the 53 didn't track up off the... 53 did not come up off the corner. He held it about a groove off the wall. It's kind of like an unspoken rule, Tim. In this series, the guy on the outside is really supposed to kind of track out to the wall, give that guy in the bottom the room to race, but the 53 got loose right there, couldn't really do anything, and just took the 14-14 again for the 6th week in a row, a pinball, and he's going to just get sent in his roof, and Matt Witten's going to get involved as well, and a lot of their cars stacked up in it as well. And quite honestly, I can't believe we didn't wreck earlier than that.
And Jeremy Thornton, you could see that he was frustrated with the way he was driving, and he falls back, and you talk about not coming off the corner before he exits the race server. He throws in the words, "You guys are racing like a bunch of explicitive idiots." So I would say that probably Thornton, if not done for the season, he'll probably be done for a race or two with that attitude. I know the race officials hold these guys to a professional level, and what we just saw there was not very professional. Chad Lawton down onto pit road with the rest of the field, down to Dakota Ehrman.
So anyway, guys, you might see a few guys towards the middle of the pack, top 10, take 2 tires, but the leader's planning on taking 4 tires currently. 4 tires in field. They will be good to go on field from here, definitely without a problem, as Chad Lawton pulls into his stall without a problem. No changes to that machine, no changes to Crawford's machine either. I think this restart's really going to make a difference because those two will be lined up and be right there with each other to race each other on the restart, guys. Chad Lawton gets out. We have a smoking car coming in. Chad Lawton actually looking like he is going to easily beat out Jerry Crawford, guys.
Yeah, Lawton with a very nice stop right there. And he's going to get out first. Looks like second is going to be Crawford. Third, Danny Hansen slid up in there really quietly, trying to make it 2 in a row possibly off of his win last week at Pocono. Malone fourth. Landon Huffman with a lot of positions gained right there, Tim. He might have taken 2. Maybe he missed his pit stall. I'm going to rewind it right here. And it looks like they have 4 tires for the 75 of Huffman. So good stop by that crew. And rounding out the top 5, once everything gets cycled around here, should be Sturgis in the 41 car.
Let's step away here for a quick break. We'll be back with the conclusion of the Kentucky Speedway event for the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Welcome back to NASCAR iRacing Pro Series, and we're getting ready to go green flag racing. And I mentioned this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship a couple of times here tonight, Mike. This is the caliber of racing that we're used to seeing in that series. We've had a few cautions here tonight, but man, the race is intense.
Very good racing so far. We saw it last week at Pocono as well. A lot of green flag racing, a lot of hard battles. We saw Kenneth O'Keefe last week at Josh Lawton go hard side by side for many laps continuously, and we thought that they were going to wreck on more than one occasion. They didn't. That's just how good these guys are. They can really wheel these cars around here. They have the feeling for them. They can push them to the limit. They do an outstanding job each and every week, and this week is no different. I mean, I've definitely noticed these guys are really starting to get used to driving around each other, Tim. The cautions each week are decreasing, and we're working towards possibly a caution-free race in the next couple of weeks. So great racing. These guys are doing a fantastic job, and they keep racing like this. We'll have some great racing next year as well.
And this is where the time that we already saw some intense racing. I think we're about to see it here because these guys are about to get at it for the final stint. Pit stop's over. These guys can go the rest of the way on fuel. It's all down to business here. Pace car in. Chad Lawton is your leader, and the green flag set to fly. Lawton is gone on the outside. Jarrett Crawford has to fend for second, and the rest on back. Look at Landon Huffman all the way up to position number 5. Huffman looking to make a statement here tonight.
Yeah, Huffman had a nice pit stop right there, got into the top 5, a lot of racing back behind Huffman right now. Huffman tries to get over the 92, but I saw Duval a little bit sideways back there in the restart. They go single file. Huffman looks over the 92, but back here for 7th and 8th, you have Rich Doucette and Carson Downs going side by side. Downs at the bottom, Doucette on the outside through 3 and 4. Oh, God, they make contact. They don't want to do that. And they save it. Great job by those two not to wreck each other right there. Doucette gives Downs a little bit more room getting into one. We know Rich doesn't want to wreck as Bennett just cut the 42 off really bad. But they're still going though.
Yeah, we saw the 31 and the 42 swap a little bit of pain. 42 comes down in front of the 02, and he's going to get turned for it. Duval into the fence. Caution flag will fly.
Oh, how did no one else get into that? Wow. A big, just huge hook on the backstretch. Duval just, I don't know exactly what he's doing here, but he's just raced very aggressively. Had to check up down the backstretch, and Chambrone just, I don't know if he didn't really care or he couldn't check up in time, but just ran right into the back, or I'm not sure who that was, but it was one of the Schmidt cars, just hooked him right to the wall. So just not sure what was going on right there.
And 2 of my fantasy picks tonight, and looking at it, the 42 had to save that car because he got loose off corner number 2, and he saved it into the path of the 02. The 02, I don't know if he got a little bit looser or what have you, but he could have let up. The 81 of Adam Gilliland was there, but Gilliland had a little bit of room back there as well. So the 02 could have let up. I'm sure Adam would have got into him, but it probably would have been possibly a square hit by the way they were going down the back straightaway. But we can sit up here all night and go coulda, woulda, shoulda on a wreck like that. But the 02 and the 42 make contact, and the 42 gets hooked into the fence, and that will likely end his night, or will likely have a lot of damage to that number 42 car as he's still rolling on the racetrack, but it's bent up on all 4 corners. And I talked about it earlier, Mike, coming off a suspension, and obviously your points are decreased for your incident system. That wreck happened obviously within the allowance of restart. We're seeing a lot of these guys in the back come down pit road. That could very well be double points if that is found as the 42 of any sort of incident points there. Duval doesn't want to be suspended again, because if he's suspended again, that's probably the golden ticket falling through his hands for that top 25 for the Drivers' World Championship.
Yeah, Duval this one, even if he doesn't get suspended next week, which I don't foresee him getting suspended, I don't necessarily think that all the reviewers are going to deem that as his fault. So I think he'll be okay. But I think with that finish, he might be out of this He might be out of this qualification to get into the 2013 NISWC. He was already back in the points, like you said. Missed the last race. So it's going to be very hard for Duval to dig out of that hole, but I've seen him put together strong runs before, consistent top 10s. He's just got to batten down the hatches a little bit these next couple weeks and just deliver some finishes, and he still might have a chance to make it.
2 of my fantasy picks tonight, and looking at it, the 42 had to save that car because he got loose off corner number 2, the 02. The 02, And don't get us wrong, I think back to a guy like John Adams who really put together a second half of the season for the Pro Series and also the Drivers' World Championship as well. But especially in that Pro Series last year, he ended up wrecked the first 2 races of the year, came back, and ended up finishing well within the top 25. So if Duval can put his mind to it and put together a final 5 races that can really blow the doors off everybody, or check that before races after this evening, that can really blow the doors off everybody, he's going to be in that top 25. But it's just a matter of those 4 races have to be consistently in the top 10 and in the top 5. This race is not over yet. I believe Duval is still going to be, as it is now, scored on the lead lap. So if he's going to salvage whatever he can here, Mike, it's not over. But it's, oh boy, it's going to be a tough row to hoe here for the 42 car.
Yeah, I mean, if Duval was racing at the, what they had last week, the Snowball Derby, that car might be more fitting for that, as he has no more as he doesn't have any fenders on it, doesn't really have a rear clip on it, and he almost wrecked on pit road, so I don't think that car's driving very well either, but it's definitely not going to be very aerodynamically sound, and he probably is not going to have a lot of motor in it either, but like you said, he's just going to have to try to salvage it. If he can stay on the lead lap, or, well, actually, he can really go 2 laps down right now, and he'd still really only lose a spot, as Brandon Schmidt's going to get the wave around again here on this caution. That'll put him down 2 laps. So really, if Duval can just stay out there and not blow the motor or something like that, he should maybe only lose a couple spots. That wouldn't be too bad. And I'm sure that's really all he's hoping for right now is just the top 30. I'm sure he's not expecting anything more.
So we will complete 102 this time by. We'll have likely 31 laps to go when we go back to Green Flag Racing. We saw the rivalry, I guess you can call it, between the 31 and 42 and a couple of other drivers up there. But that Hornet's Nest, or what I'm going to call right now the Hornet's Nest, is still here, Mike. We got Peter Bennett, we got Kenneth O'Keefe, Alex Chambrone, Adam Gilliland right around each other. And those guys are some drivers that have shown a little bit of aggression in this race, and maybe impatience might be a word as well, too, to make their way through the field earlier in this race. And now that we're at around 30 laps to go, that aggression and impatience might still be there. I would watch around those guys there, because those guys will likely be the ones that are more apt to maybe push and shove to get to the front.
Yeah, those guys are not afraid to use the bumper. We saw that. That was pretty early on in the race, too. Like I said, less than 30 to go once we really get back in the swing of things here. So they're going to be using the bumper, but, you know, my concern is you have veterans back there. You have guys like Josh Berry. You have guys like Dustin Montgomery. Montgomery might not be a veteran to the 2 top NASCAR series, but he's been around a long time in iRacing. He's always been fast. So guys like that, I don't necessarily know if they're going to put up with guys racing as hard as Gilliland does, or Chambrone, or O'Keefe, or Bennett would on that last run. They might get a little bit sick of that and say to him in more ways than one, hey, I'm a veteran, you know, move out of the way, rookie. So we'll have to see how the clash of personalities work out here. But like I said, that is definitely a hornet's nest back there. You go from 9th all the way back to, I'd probably say 16th, and your buddy Josh Connors is back there as well. He'll have a good seat for that, and it's going to get pretty exciting here on this restart.
And then up in front, who's going to be? Is it going to be Chad Lawton or Jarrett Crawford, or maybe somebody else taking away the win? How about Danny Hansen looking for his 2nd consecutive win in the series? Pace car in, green flag flies, the 26 is gone, and here comes Danny Hansen. What a start by the Pro Geek Consulting 78 to the inside of the 83, side by side for 2nd.
He got a huge run on that restart right there. He's going to clear Crawford into turn 2. Strong restart for the 78, and that car's been fast all night. Let's see what he can do right here. I think he's a match for the 83 and the 26. 83 gets a nice run off turn 2, though. Not going to have anything happen to it. Top 3 breakaway, just a little bit. 26 himself breaks away 2 car lengths over 2nd and 3rd.
Ooh, great battling mid-pack as well. There's battles all over this racetrack as we work up off corner number 4. Kenneth O'Keefe around in the 73. He saves it, and they're going to go 3 wide. Everybody scatters, and the 02 is Chambrone. Gets a hit from behind.
4
what a
wide.
save by him as we are 2, 3, and 4 wide. Barry gives the shot to the 73 of Kenneth O'Keefe through the corner, and he's going to pass the 8 of Dustin Montgomery. What a move by Kenneth O'Keefe as we're 3 wide behind them.
Still 3 wide. You got the 34, the 15, and the 07 back there. That's Connors, Busa, and Crone. 3 wide through 3 and 4. Great racing right there. Looks like Jared Crawford went around Danny Hansen for second position. That puts Hansen back to third. Still strong run for both of them. Let's see if Crawford can run down his teammate right now. So what is that, Tim? That's 33rd to second, if I'm not mistaken, for the 83. So nice run up to the front in this race for him. He's going to have a nice point stay, although his closest rival who's in front of him, Chad Lawton, is in front of him once again here tonight. And he's got to get up there and try to do something with him if he doesn't want to lose any points.
Kenneth O'Keefe in the 27 of Cody Bias. Here comes the 72 with Josh Berry, 3 wide. Off corner number 4, the 12 of Joey Brown is there as well as they go at it, 3 wide. Aggressive moves as the 72 nearly gets into the 27. Great save by Josh Berry in the Speedco Chevrolet Impala. 73 of Kenneth O'Keefe. Watch the bumper there as here comes Chambrone. Chambrone has been known to use the bumper as well.
Man, oh, God. Oh, man. All right, still 3 wide. Here they come. 73 in the middle, 12 on the outside. Now they're 2 wide, 02 on the bottom. Chambrone tries to get away from Brown. Brown doesn't want to give it away. Here they come, side by side down the front stretch. Brown turns it down to the bottom. Still has some toe damage, as I can see right there. Car doesn't look too stable. Side by side they go into turns 1 and 2. They get close right there. 73 holding down. 12 of Brown. It's a nice run through the center. Doesn't really have very much any place to go with it. He'll slide back in line. He'll go single file the first time in a couple laps.
Connors to the inside of the 34 as well as they go side by side. That is Matt Busa to the outside. Connors cannot complete the pass off corner number 4 as Brad Wright and Derek Crone go at it side by side behind them as they go side by side, stacked 2 deep for the spot. Barry looks to make the spot in the number 27 of Cody Bias just ahead of this, and the 02 is there with the 12. There's battles all over the racetrack. Meanwhile, up in front, Chad Lawton is gone by a half second.
Almost 3 wide back here at the 48, the 15, the 34. Now 48's going to go in the middle. 34 way up the track of Busa. I think he thought that the 48 might hit the 15 right there, slip the track just to give him some room. They're still side by side back here. 34.07. That should be for the 18th and 19th positions back there, as Bookberger has some connection issues back inside of the 34. And right in front of the 48 of Wright, he's going to go around Connors. That should be right outside the top 15 right there. So Connors starting to fall back a little bit after this restart. Here comes Crone to the bottom as well. So that'll be 2 positions for the 15 in the matter of 1 lap.
And we haven't called Brandon Bookberger's name a whole lot, but Bookberger is there off corner number 4, and he is warping. A little bit of issue there as 71 of Gatula going to go underneath him. Andrew Vayash the third starting to creep his way into the picture as well in the late laps of this race. They are 3 wide as Sansone and Yarrow Tyan have the 77 in the middle, and the 80 is going to get the shot up the hill, and the 77 of Vayash going to fall back 1 spot.
Yeah, I have to keep my eye on the 17 right now. Bookberger, he's blinking all over the place, probably scaring everyone around him. You just can't tell where a car is when they're not there half the time. And that 17 is not there at all. We'll continue to keep our eye on him. It looks like that connection issue has subsided for the time being. Now looking up front right here, we're single file most of the way up through. Looks like the first battle on the track is, well, we don't really have a battle right now, Tim. It looks like they're just single file freight training it, trying to make some laps right now.
I like P7 right now, the 92 and 81 of Casey Malone and Adam Gittle, and as they go at it for the spot, the 31 of Peter Bennett looks on from behind as well, this time by 1:12 in the book of 134. So we close in on the final laps of this race, 22 remaining in this event as the 81 closes in on that 92.
Hey, Gil, having a strong run right now. He got through that restart, got out of the Hornet's Nest. He's now all over the back of the 92, so nice ending of the race for Gil. And, you know, he can really be fast. He can put together a first stint, put together a middle of the race, but he's got some trouble sometimes, kind of like Duval, just getting to the end as he gets a little sideways on the floor right there. Right now, with about 20 laps to go, it looks like he's going to have a strong finish if everything just goes his way. So nice job by him. And Bennett, aggressively as Bennett's driven tonight, it's amazing that he's up in the 9th position, but really aggressive driving, but some real talent behind that driving as well to make it work. All back there, a lot of talent to make that work and be able to go 4 wide here in Kentucky. There's a lot of grooves, Tim, but 4 wide on older tires and on restarts when people are all bunched up, I mean, that's pretty incredible.
And a ticket to Drivers' World Championship on the line as well. Dakota Herman on pit road.
Adam Gilliland, you guys talking about the incredible stuff he's doing. Well, under the caution, before the restart, he's actually on Facebook, and trust me, he's not very happy with Dylan Duvall. I just saw that on Facebook, guys.
Social media being used here, of course, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. The 81 of Adam Gilliland, obviously expressing his displeasure another way than inside the server as Peter Bennett goes to the inside. He got all kinds of sideways off corner number 4, and he may have hit the wall or something there because the 31 is way off the pace.
Yeah, as I just, man, I cannot get used to this this chat system. Trying to talk to any other thing, I keep talking to spectators. But anyway, yeah, people are really loose right now, and it's just really loose all over the place. Tires are wearing out. They're just trying to get to the end and hold it together.
Trying to get to the end of this event. 1:16 completed this time by of 1:34. So the laps continue to click away. The one thing that I'm seeing here right now, though, how about Jake Sturgis up in position number 4 as he is chased by Carson Downs, and just behind Downs, Landon Huffman in position number 6. Two drivers that really need great runs here this evening, running 4th and 6th.
They definitely do need it. They've had, again, Sturgis really, he doesn't even need a good run. He just needs a little bit of a better run. Like, he's had good runs. He's had top 10 runs. He's had top 15 runs. Not this good a run, though. So top 5 for Sturgis. Really, really strong tonight. Found some speed in that 41 car last couple of weeks. That's nice to see. And like you said, Huffman, the RSR champion from this year, doing very nicely as well tonight. Didn't really talk about him much, but after a pit stop, he was just there all of a sudden. So either pit strategy or maybe we just missed him, but really nice run for Huffman as well.
Great run for Landon Huffman as he runs in that 6th place spot, and he chases down Carson Downs, the 41 of Jake Sturgis, and the 78 of Danny Hansen in front of him. Meanwhile, Chad Lawton out by 0.6 of a second over Jarrett Crawford in the number 83, and that gap is pretty much stabilized. They're one-upping each other, it seems like, the last few laps, Mike, on who can turn the fastest lap. It was Crawford last time by 0.03 of a second, as Crawford, if 0.03 of a second is not going to equate to catching your leader in about 20 laps or so as we close down on the final laps of this race, this time by just 15 remaining.
Yeah, we're coming to the nitty-gritty right here in this race to Kentucky, round 6 of the 2012 NASCAR Racing Pro Series here on ETV Live, and this has been a great race. This has been really fun. Only 4 cautions along this race. Huge green flag run to start it off, about 60-something laps right there. I mean, just absolutely just beautiful racing. I'm beside myself how good they're doing. Like I said, they just keep getting better every week, so we're going to have to tune in next week. And I believe they hit the short track at Richmond, if I'm not mistaken, Tim. That'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting as Josh Berry is about to re-enter the top 10 as he makes his way past Peter Bennett. He tossed it in corner number 3 to make that move stick, so 72 of Berry is back up in the top 10, and it looks like a couple of battles here starting to brew within the top 10. I did see Adam Gilliland start to poke his nose underneath as Jake Sturgis has now moved to position number 3 on the 78 at Danny Hansen. Hansen now falls back into the clutches of his teammate Carson Downs. But yeah, I believe as we come down to the final few laps of this race, this might be the race of the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I haven't seen this good of a pro race probably since that Las Vegas pro race last year where he had myself, Alex Horn, and Patrick Baldwin going for the win, with Alex eventually coming out on top, but I believe a second to last lap pass or last lap pass. It was really close to the end. A lot of great racing there. I haven't seen anything this great in a long time, so these guys are doing an incredible job. We still have 30 cars out in the track, 36 started, so not a lot of attrition tonight, just a lot of good cars running very well, with a lot of talented drivers doing their thing very well.
1:22 completed now as we work up to the final few laps of this race. 12 laps to go now as the 78 and 97 are going at it for position number 4. Carson Downs, as we documented in the pre-race show last week, had issues with Josh Lawton, which took him out of what probably would have been at least a top 5 finish, maybe even a top 3 finish, and possibly the battle for the win with his teammate Danny Hansen. But I think right now for Carson Downs, and if he hangs on, we'll have to ask him in the post-race show, 5th has to probably be pretty rewarding after last week.
Yeah, after getting turned on that restart out of 2nd, that was a big disappointment for him. I got to talk to him a little bit throughout the week, and he wasn't really happy with Lawton, but they made up. Lawton apologized, and Downs understood. Downs understood. It was just a racing deal. Lawton was just trying to get all he could at the time, and unfortunately just tried to deal with too much where there wasn't really enough room, as Hanson's getting really loose right now. 78 Danny, it looks like he might have worn that right rear off of it, Tim. He's got to hang on to it for another 10 laps here, but his teammate's hot and sealed.
And if they don't look far back, you see Landon Huffman, you see Casey Malone getting bigger in the rear view mirror, Adam Gilliland, Dustin Montgomery, and then Josh Berry complete your top 10 right now, as once again the gap stabilized up in front. It's 6 car lengths between your top 2, as this time by we have 9 laps remaining on the field.
I mean, if I were Danny and Carson, well, not Danny and Carson, so they're going to go ahead and race each other, but oh God, if I were them, I would just stay single file. Now what they're going to do right here is they're just going to let the 75 of Huffman just close right up to the back of him. So Danny's going to have to let Carson by right here. I'm sure he will, and he does. So now Danny's going to fall back to 5th. What they did, now you have the 75 up to the rear of them. Oh, as Danny gets really loose right there, he's going to lose all types of momentum. Now Huffman's going to look at 78 as well. So those guys, teammates, but racing pretty hard here. But you know, we're within 10 laps to go. You got to expect it.
And Landon Huffman wants to get a top 5 finish bad. It would be his first top 5 finish, I believe, in this Pro Series. So if he can get up there and pass Danny Hansen, or have the opportunity to do so, he almost had one there, got a little bit loose. But if he can get up here, I'm sure he's going to have the opportunity to do so, and we'll see how bad he wants that top 5 finish. 7 laps remaining here.
Oh, they're getting real close right there. Danny shuts the door. Huffman loses momentum now. Huffman's going to try to throw it in the inside right here. And they're still going to stay single file. This is your best battle on the track right now. That's why we're showing it. 3 cars, nose to tail. Danny Hansen, Landon Huffman, Casey Malone going for the last spot in the top 5. Huffman gets, I don't know what happened to him off 2 right there. Might have gotten a little bit loose, and Malone got a huge run. That's going to let Danny slip away just a little bit right here as they come out of turn 4.
Yeah, Casey Malone is reminding Landon Huffman that this is far from over, as he looks underneath and just behind them. Keep a half eye on that battle, as well as Dustin Montgomery and Adam Gilliland nearly have a moment on the front straightaway, as Gilliland tries to hold on to that spot. Dustin Montgomery wants that one extra spot, that one extra point, because Montgomery's top 5 in points, as is Adam Gilliland, as the 92 gets a great run down the back straightaway on the inside of Landon Huffman for position number 6.
Yeah, they're going to battle side by side as we come to 5 laps to go at the line. Lawton hits the line. He gets by the lap traffic with ease. 5 to go here at Kentucky.
5 laps remaining in this NASCAR iRacing Pro Series event at Kentucky, as the 8 makes the move on the 81. Does he have anything left in the tank for the 2 in front of him to try to get a top 6 finish out of this, as Jarrett Crawford has fallen back to now 8 car lengths behind Chad Lawton. So it's Lawton's race to lose, as we will come up this time by to 4 laps remaining for your point leader, Chad Lawton, as the battle, I believe, for 3rd is heating up. No, check that is Cattell going another lap down, as I saw Sturgis flash by him. What a run for Sturgis.
A nice run for Sturgis. He struggled a lot last season in the UWC series, and I'm sure he's happy with this run, but he's ecstatic about this run, and good to see him run well. It's always nice to see some different people get up there and run well, and Willman definitely has a stranglehold on this field at the moment, and as you could say, the same thing for J-Show, as they're always nose to tail as well. So a couple teams really having a stranglehold in this Pro Series about halfway through of it. Guys like Sturgis, guys like Malone, Huffman, those guys, they're trying to get up there and try to break up the party just a little bit.
Down the back straightaway, Lawton, Crawford, Sturgis, all by their lonesome, and really Downs is there too. And Hansen doesn't have a whole lot of pressure from behind him this time by. Sticks in the air. 2 laps remaining for Chad Lawton. The closest battle within the top 10 is about around 92, 8, and 81. And actually the 72 is closing in at Barry, but I think Barry is going to run out of time here, as everybody else is single file for position here as we come down to 1 to go.
Yeah, Barry's about a 10th and a half quicker than those guys in front of him, and actually about a 10th quicker than Lawton out in front. That's your leader. So, it's probably a tough night for Barry. We could have seen what he could have done if he did a turn right there, but White flag is out. Lawton takes start finish line one more time for that 26 to come around and get another win on the season.
Jarrett Crawford runs in second, as it is a distant second. It is 8 car lengths between your top two, as the number 26 goes into corners 3 and 4 for the final time this evening. And Chad Lawton will extend the point lead. He'll pick up another win, and Chad Lawton returns to victory lane in the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series. Jarrett Crawford, Jake Sturgis, top 3. We'll talk to them, as well as the J-Show teammates Carson Downs and Danny Hansen in the post-race show. Great run there for 6th and 7th, as well as Landon Huffman barely holds on over Casey Malone.
8th. Go to the 8 car of Dustin Montgomery, rebounding from that incident with Barry. 9th, Adam Gilliland, and 10th is Barry. 11th, Joey Brown. 12th, Peter Bennett. 13th, Doucette. 14th to 27 to Cody Bies. 15th, Alexander Brun with that solid top 15 we said that he needed to have. O'Keefe back to 16th. Wright couldn't rebound from the wreck at 17th. Gatula 18th. Ackley 19th. Derek Crone rounding out your top 20 here tonight.
Looking at 21st through 30th as we watch Chad Lawton get ready to light him up. It's Geis. It is Busa, Sansone, Fay Ash, Witten, Connors, Bookberger, Tyen, Duval, and Cattell. Everybody else laps down the end of the race. Schmidt, Moose, Thornton, Burmeister, Savalainen, and Lawton. As Chad Lawton lights him up here on the front straightaway, we will take a quick break. We will set you up for the JDR Graphics Tim's Corner Motorsports post-race show, where we'll talk to your top 5 finishers. Don't go away. We'll be right back on ETV Live.
Hey dude, are you ready to rock and roll? If that's cool, then you need to do it over at HD Radio Network. HD Radio Network, 4 stations broadcasting 24/7 with everything from metal favorites to the 80s classic rock like legendary Leonard Skinner, Electric Light Orchestra, Foreigner, and bone-rattling, skull-crushing rock and roll on hard-driving radio. Bear Factory, Stone Temple Pilots, Def Leppard, and a whole lot more. HDRadionetwork.com. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude.
Welcome back to the post-race show for the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series event from the Kentucky Speedway. After a very exciting race, one of the best races of the season here for the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series, your winner is Chad Lawton, leading 56 laps of the race. We're going to go down to victory lane with Mike Conti.
Another outstanding job by Chad here tonight. Chad, he had a strong Carl night. Didn't lead the most laps tonight, but you're really close. We raced each other in that Class A race on Sunday. It seems like you made the car even better from then. Tell me, how fun was it to drive that rocket ship tonight?
Oh, it was a blast. Me, Jared, Dustin, and Rich, we worked hard today. We're after we ran the Thursday night race, or I think it was Sunday. We just were lacking some grip on the exit, and we were able to find it actually today. We're jumbling between setups, and we finally found one that was right. I think I used a different one than Jared did, and that felt awesome. And we made a qualifying setup with the last 15 minutes before qualifying. So that's why we're pretty much all bad for qualifying this week, and it's just good to get a win here.
Now, this is your third win of the season in just a short amount of races here. You're in the lead in points. Going into the next half of the season, we're at the halfway point pretty much right here. Are your sights still set on top 25? Because I'm pretty sure you're pretty much guaranteed that. Are you really looking for this championship at this point?
Oh, you have to now. I mean, I'm up there. I'm obviously leading the points and have been leading all season. And my competition, Dustin and Jared, they finished in the top 5 like every race. So it's as of now, I'm looking really good. I can't have another race like Pocono, I don't think. I was really bad at Pocono and made way too many mistakes. I think as long as I run good and get top 10s from here on out, maybe top 12s, I think I'll be all right.
Going into next week, we tackle a different track at Richmond. Tell us about your short track package and what do you expect there next week?
Richmond is one of my favorite tracks in this game. I know I probably haven't ran it much in the A car, but in the B car I loved it, and looking forward to this track. I love this track since NR2 on 3, so it's always been a good track to me. And just hopefully we get some green flag runs like we did today, and hopefully we get the same thing next week.
Alrighty, Chad. Well, good luck next week. Before I let you go, let us know who makes it happen for you.
Obviously, Brendan Mercer, Gary Mercer Trucking, Tim's Corner for the Tim's Corner Challenge. I get some big bucks at the end of the month or at the end of the season. And you guys here at ETV, you guys put on a great show, and I appreciate everything you guys do. And most of all, my teammates of Will Monique, Jared Crawford, Richard Doucette, Josh Lawton, Jason Carl Avitz, Tyler Hudson. I know I missed some few, but Dustin Montgomery, I want to thank all those guys. They're the ones that give me wins and help me out.
All right, Chad. Well, good luck next week at Richmond. Let's see if you can maybe get your 4th win of the season there in 1 week's time. I'm going to send it down to Dakota, I believe has Jared Crawford.
Yes, sir. And when I heard Jared Crawford get out of the car, he kind of sighed relief, or kind of heard a sigh of relief. Jared, tell me how tough that was going from 33rd to 7th in just one green flag run.
Oh boy, that was interesting. I had in my first off, I messed up qualifying obviously to be back there. My first attempt, I was gonna run either a low 1 or a high 30.0, which would have been plenty good enough for the pole, and I just doofed 3. And then the second attempt, I overdrove 1 and tried to make it up with throttle, got loose, and just touched the wall. So I had to start shotgun on the field, and it was pretty hard. The car it was really good in heavy traffic, but as soon as I got in clean air, I'd get really loose. And the whole run was just about managing the right rear, and I did a pretty good job of it coming to 7th, but I don't know. It was a blast from my point of view.
I know you said it was great coming to the field, but it was a pain when you got to Chad Lawton and you had nowhere else to go. You ran out of time. What happened there?
Yeah, our setup we found out in practice was very aero sensitive to being completely in clean air, and even if you had just one car in front of you, it would get really loose for some reason. And that whole last run, I was trying really hard until about 10 or 12 to go, and my right rear was just melted, so it was just conservation mode after that.
And I mean, how do you feel after 134 laps? You went from 33rd to finish 2nd. I mean, what are your final thoughts after the race completely?
Oh, I'm just real proud of the guys. Real proud of Chad. Everyone who finished in the top 5 did a great job. Jake was coming at the end. He was fast. Danny and Carson both were fast, and I don't know. It's just a good team effort, and we didn't really put a whole lot of time in this week, but today when we all got on, we really worked hard to get what we had, and it was good.
And what makes it happen for you, bud?
Well, all the guys at Wheelman Inc., all the guys basically Chad listed, and all the other guys behind the scenes. Tim Terry and Tim's Corner Challenge, and definitely you guys at ETV for putting on a great show. And I'd also like to thank my spotter, Jason Karlavages. I've forgotten every single week. I finally remembered, bud.
All right, there you have it from Jerry Crawford, your 2nd place finisher. You're going to pass it down to Tim Terry, who's standing by as your 3rd place finisher.
Jake Sturgis coming home with position number 3. Jake, we've seen it before with pit stop strategy, and you come out on top. A little bit of strategy here, come home with a 3rd place finish. Let's first talk about that strategy with you and Sansone staying out under that first caution.
I pitted. I took 2 there, and I ended up 2nd to Vinny, who stayed out. And then we had a yellow, real quick yellow after, I don't know, I think we went half a lap. Josh Berry got spun out. And so we stayed out again, tried it again. This time I got a lot better restart. I actually restarted in 1st there. I was able to get by Vinny on the backstretch, and it wasn't long before Chad was coming, and then Jared, and then Carson, Danny, everyone was passing me, and got a little lucky with that yellow, pitted, and came out in 6th. And then we got another quick yellow, got up to 5th. And from there I was just sort of surprised I was that high up late in the race.
And you had a nice little battle with Carson Downs at the end of it to take away that 3rd place spot.
I think that was Danny, actually. Danny he was getting a little loose out of the turns, and I think he might have gotten to the wall out of 4, so I got a real good run. He let me have it. And they were real fast. They were right with me, and then Carson, he got by Danny, and he was coming too, but I don't think I had anything for those guys in front of me.
Has to give you a real shot in the arm going forward here. We talked about momentum heading into the holiday break. We got 2 races before then. Has to really give you a little bit of confidence heading into the final half of the season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had no idea I would be in 5th in points after 5 races. I got a lot of luck to get that far, but tonight wasn't so much luck for once, which was nice. And going into Richmond, I'm feeling real good. That's one of my better tracks, and hope we can have a strong run there.
You get some sponsors on your car. Who makes it happen for you each week?
Well, first I'd like to thank Joey Brown for making the setup over at Lastro Motorsports, and all the other guys over there, Peter Bennett, myself, my brother, Landon Huffman, Brandon Cattell, Vinny Sansone, Nick Morse, Brandon Bookberger, and I'd also like to thank my team over at NX Racing. We mostly do the road course stuff, but I got them on the hood of my NASCAR, so that's pretty cool.
And that's Jake Sturgis coming home in position number 3. Carson Downs finished in 4th, and he's down with Mike Conti.
Strong run tonight for you, Carson, coming home in the 4th position after the disappointment last week with your running with Josh Lawton. Tell us how your night went. It seemed like the car was pretty fast, especially on the long run.
I'm going to do this interview a little differently. First, I have to thank Tom Lewandowski and Jason Loafing. The interview at Daytona, I completely forgot to mention them, and Tom had put in hours over the season and forgot to thank him. But in the race, we qualified 26th, and I just overdrove 3. And coming out of the first pit stop, we got up to 5th. And the caution came out, and usually when the cautions start coming out, that's where my race goes downhill. At Phoenix, got wrecked on a restart, and at Pocono, got wrecked on a restart. So it was nice for once to get a finish where I think we deserved.
Tell us about those restarts tonight. I'm not sure if you were really in that hornet's nest ever, but we were looking between 9th and maybe 15th. And Tim, myself, and Dakota were just in awe at how hard guys were racing. When you're back there around the 10th position, that first run, 10th, 15th, how much harder does the mid-pack race than when you get up front? Is there a noticeable difference once you get out of that area?
The most difficult thing is making sure you don't get on the bottom lane on the restarts through the corner, because if you do, there's so little grip down there that there's a risk of wrecking it the whole time. But throughout the restarts, the drivers were pretty clean. No dooring on the straightaway or anything like that, which was a relief.
Yeah, you got through this race clean, which was good to see. Now going into next week at Richmond, we'll definitely expect some bumping and banging there. What are your expectations going to there? I know you and Danny are pretty fast in the short tracks this season. Very fast in New Hampshire. Will you be taking that car to Richmond next week?
We'll see. The key at Richmond, I think, is keeping the rear tires on it. We saw at Phoenix that the tires would wear out really quickly, and the people who were able to conserve their rear tires and kept drive off throughout the run were able to move forward. And Richmond's the same way. We have the same tire there, and it'll be key to keep the tires on it.
All right, so you thanked Tom, you thanked Jason, Loafing. Tell us about Pro Geek and everyone else that's on the car.
Yeah, I got to thank Pro Geek Consulting. Matt Salo's been on vacation the last 2 weeks, and we've wrecked in every race that he's been on vacation. So it's nice to get a finish for him, Danny and I both. Not to ruin his vacation completely. And I got to thank all the guys on Jay's show for putting a lot of time in and effort to have us run up front.
Alrighty, superb drive, Carson, tonight. Look for bigger and better things next week at Richmond. Good luck there. Alright, I'm going to send it down one last time to Tim Terry, who's caught up with the 5th place finisher, Danny Hansen.
Danny Hansen backs up the win at Pocono with a top 5 finish here. Danny, talk about the run that you had this evening at Kentucky.
Well, we started out the night with not the greatest qualifying effort, but I wasn't too worried about it. You know, we were starting near the front, and to be honest, I really did not know what I had going into the race. I know Tom Lewandowski made a few changes, and I didn't really do a huge long run, but during the 8th strength of field race on Sunday, I ran one of his setups, and nothing spectacular happened. So I had the dilemma of either running his setup, which to me always, I don't know, we just have like a similar driving style or something, because I can always get the handle on his setups pretty quick. But Brian Schoenberg ran Jason Loafing's setup and won the race with that. So that was a big dilemma with me. But we ended up going with Tom's setup, and it was really close. I mean, there was moments in this race where I thought maybe we could go back-to-back wins.
And when we look at point standings, you were 5th coming in, or top 5 coming in. It's going to give you that little shot of momentum again. We head to Richmond next week. We head from the big track at Pocono to here at Kentucky. We go to the short track at Richmond. Can you really pull off the trifecta and get another top 5 run here and continue this great momentum down the stretch?
Oh, I think absolutely. The race I was worried about was actually tonight. I don't like Kentucky as a racetrack on the game, and looking at the next few tracks coming ahead, we've had success there in the past, so I don't think putting a top 5, maybe another win, would be saying too much.
And it is currently, after 5 races, tied for 3rd in the standings with Dustin Montgomery. You only have 19 points between yourself and Jarrett Crawford. Where are you looking realistically? Obviously, top 25 was the main goal coming in. Where do you think you can finish in points with the next 4 races looking at us?
Yeah, I really think for us, top 25 is out of the picture. I think that's we're going to really fall off a cliff not be able to do that. But, realistically, I think any of those guys can slip up 1 week, and if we keep our roll of good top 5, top 10 finishes, and they have 1 or 2 slip-ups, we'll be right there. So I think we're right in it for the championship hunt.
You got some sponsors on the card. You got a great team that backs you each week. Who would you like to thank?
Progi Consulting, Matt Salo. He's an awesome sponsor, awesome supporter. Really happy to have him on the car. Everybody over at J Show, they do a great job making setups. Brian Schoenberg, Jason Loafing, Carson Downs, Mike Conti, and like I said, Tom Lewandowski. He helps me out every week, and I don't think I would be third in the points without him. I mean, Jason Loafing makes great setups, but like I said, something with me and Tom just really click, and I can drive his setups very good. So I'm very thankful for all the support that he puts in every week.
And that's Danny Hansen, 5th place here this evening. Tied for 3rd in the point standings now heading in to next week's race at Richmond. Mike Conti, final thoughts from here. We head from Pocono last week to Kentucky this week, and then we do some short track racing next week. The Pro Series is giving us everything here in 2012.
Yeah, we've just seen an incredible first half of the season so far. Great race tonight here for Kentucky. This will definitely be one of those classic iRacing Pro Series races that you go back and watch many times over again into the future. Next week at Richmond, going to be a great race. Like Danny touched on, Carson touched on it. Rear tires are going to be super important to keep under the car. If you don't have the rear tires, you're not going to go anywhere. So might have a couple one-lap wonders next week, but we're going to see who can do it in the long run at Richmond. Just, again, great race tonight, and I'm looking forward to next week.
One of the better races of the season here in this Kentucky event. Once again, Richmond coming up next week, and check out ETV Live. Great schedule of events coming up. We got 2 races coming up in the next 2 days as well. So check us out here on ETV Live if you're looking for some great iRacing action. That's going to do it for us here from the Kentucky Speedway. For the whole ETV crew, Dakota Urban, John Westling, Mike Conti, my name is Tim Terry, saying we will see you next week when we say, let's go racing from the Richmond International Raceway. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.